Hi everyone, it's the end of July. I've come down the plot to plant some brassicas out because as you might have seen in my last video, I'd emptied my broccoli, my cauliflower and my golden acre, Primo 2 cabbage came out and the garlic, so I've got a bit of free space. So it's too early in the year I think to just cover things up. So I might as well take advantage of it and try and grow a later season crop, which I should do. I'm hoping it'll be ready by sort of October because these were probably sown maybe 6 weeks ago, these seeds. And I've sort of potted them on and into these litre pots a while ago, so they've been kind of grouped together, so they're not perfect, but I think they'll appreciate it being put in and given some space, and hopefully they'll take root and grow, and they'll still have enough time to form a decent curd without being too stunted, you know, because usually the plants like to get a bit of size on first. So it's Clapton, the cauliflower that I've grown for the last few years. I used to grow one called Avalanche, which I can't find the seeds for now. I still personally think that it was the best cauliflower I've ever grown, the Avalanche, but why they stopped doing it, I don't know. So if anyone can find seeds for it, well, please let me know. Because they were massive heads and they really covered the curd well themselves, so you didn't get any browning or anything like that. You'd probably see them in some of my earlier videos. So I've got some January King and some Savoy to go in as well, just cabbage. I'm going to put them where the garlic was. So all I've done, I've put some bloodfish and bone and some chicken manure pellets on the other night and just raked it about. So there'll be a few weed seeds because of thistles. There's a lot of thistles over the land behind me. Some of them seeds will have blown on, so I'm expecting a few weeds, but I'll just deal with them as and when they come. So I'll film a bit of this. I've got a lot to get done and very little time to get it done. Regarding the potatoes, they're not looking too great. The orla, like a bit of dieback, and you know, I think blight's finally started to rear its head a bit now. You know, I'm getting substantial, you know, suspicious looking patches on the foliage at the side here, and they look a bit bruised. So I think within the next couple of weeks I've got to seriously think about getting these tops off. I cut the tops off the Morris Pierce, so I'm hoping to dig them up today, weather permitting. So there's a bit to do. So I shall get on with this. I'll film some of it, but not all of it, because obviously it's time consuming, and I just want to get them in. So I'll film a couple, and you can see them all afterwards when they're in. So I'll get on with that. First I'll do the cauliflower because they're net already on that bed. I've put them under here while I'm busy doing stuff, because it only takes a few seconds for a butterfly to come and lay some eggs on the back of the leaf, and well, you all know that happens. Caterpillars everywhere, and then your plants look like skeletons a few days after, which is a bit disheartening when you've got them this far. So they should be firm enough to handle a lot of pests, you know, a bit of slug damage, and if there's any grubs or anything, hopefully they'll withstand a bit of that. Because I've not put drinking straws on the stems or anything, because one, they're too big, you know, they're pencil thickness now, so they've got a bit of strength to them. So I'll get on with doing these, and as I'm saying this, I can see some cabbage white butterflies knocking around, so I just need to be on my guard with them. I'll crack on with these. In true fashion, it started spitting me rain a bit, as it does whenever I come down to the plot, but we shall persevere. I got a good drenching the other night down here, so a bit of rain never hurts anyone. It just makes things a bit more messy, but nevertheless, it's a job that's going to get done, and it'll save me watering too much. I can give them a bit of a watering in, and then, you know, the rest will be down to Mother Nature. So I'm only going to do 3 wide. Probably go for the conventional like I usually do, 15 inch roughly between plants. I think I've got 16 here. I don't know how many I'll get in this bed. I might have a gap at one end because I haven't got so many Savoy, so I might put the Savoy down that end. So it's mainly brassicas. Well, they'll all be brassicas in this bed. I might as well fill the bed with whatever I can, and then go with that. So we shall make a start. I say they've had a bit of a battering, some of them. You know, any yellow leaves I'll nip off. You know, probably that other one because it's quite low down. There's no point bothering with them. I'll just keep an eye out for any yellowing foliage over the coming weeks. There's a few little holes in it here and there where probably certain little bugs have been having a go. So hopefully when they get out here in this ground they can pump some roots out and all will be well. So I'm not going to film all of it, but I'm just going to go roughly about 8-10 inches in from the end here, something. So we'll just stick trailing. That's where number 1's going to go. So you have you know, sort of one there, another one about here, another one about there. As I say, I'm not being too precise with it all because it's just it's what I call like a possible crop. If all goes well, I'll get a crop. If I don't, there's no harm in trying, because otherwise I'm wasting months of growable season still. So I might as well put something in and try to kind of make up for anything that's not done so good during the year. You can kind of get a bit of a bonus sort of extra crop, you know. But I do try and grow as much of the season as I can. The season decides when enough's enough and just kills everything with frost if it's not frost hardy. Right, so I shall do the middle one first, save me reaching right over. So they're quite big pots, so I might actually just take this one out like so, lay it there ready, because they're quite sturdy plants, and just make a whacking great big hole. I need to plant these a bit deeper, so they're not rocking about everywhere, which inevitably means bringing some troubled seeds up from down below, but can't win it all. And I'm not going to bother putting like feed in the hole. Nestle it down to there, so it'd be roughly where the two first leaves are, so it should have a fair decent anchorage point. Put the soil back, like so, and give it a really good firming down. And hopefully that'll appreciate the extra space and pump some roots out pretty quick. So I've got this area here, so I'm just going to kind of pick about the middle of it, sort of thing, around here. Same again, just get that out of the way so you can see what I'm doing. I wonder where I get my pots from. They're quite hard plastic. Elixir, I think that's spelled E-L-I-X-I-R, Gardens Centre or Garden Supplies. It's based in Morecambe, but I get everything mail order, so I don't get anything from them for free, so I'm not affiliated with them anyway. I'm just saying that they do good pots, loads of other stuff, so check out the website. That's Elixir, and it's based in the UK. So I'll crack on. Luckily the soil's had a chance to get a good dampening through. It's had a few days where it's absolutely chucked it down and the bed's been empty. It's had a chance for the water to get through, whereas before when you've got a load of brassicas on the bed, it can create a bit of a canopy. You still get runoff like, but it's nice to have the bed nice and soaked up, good to go again. It all speeds up the dispersion rate of any fertilisers or anything you put in. Obviously any microbes and that, they need moisture. Obviously if you dry out, all your other life tends to die out as well. That's that one. I'll go around the other side and do the other one. Same again, half that space. About here somewhere, I'll do. So I'm not doing anything for perfection, it's just get them in and get them growing. And it's no harm in trying to plant a few close together here and there, because it's a test to see what you can get away with. Because you can in raised beds, you can grow things a bit close together, in my opinion. You know, otherwise big cauliflowers want something like 2 foot by 3 foot. I've never given that, to be honest. I've never felt the need, because it's a lot of open ground, and if it's open, it's somewhere a weed will grow. Well, it's like there's a little caterpillar on the back of this, so luckily he's gone to sleepy balls now. But yeah, I do need to timber these beds up a bit this year probably. Right, so I won't film the rest of this bed, but you'll have a look when it's all in, and I shall crack on, and hopefully the rain will stay away. that bed all planted up. So I've just put 3 savoy at the end here, because I thought I'd give them a bit more room, because sometimes they can get pretty big. And I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 15 collies. So if they all do well, I've got plenty of collie, and I'll have some cabbage to pick as well. I'm just giving them a bit of a watering now. So I've had a few butterflies hovering near. I'm just hoping none of them had a chance to lay any eggs on them. And I'll give them another water before I go as well, but I'm just going to get the first dreg of water on, and then get the net over them. At least that way I know they're kind of safe then. And then when they come down next time, I will have a check for any caterpillars. You can see there's a cabbage white hanging round now, so without further ado, I'm going to get this net back over. Let Mr. Bumblebee get out of the way. So I've got another net to build for the other one, which I'm not going to film because I've got a video on how I do the nets. Oh, it's probably not the easiest way, but it's worked for me all these years, and it's fairly straightforward to put up and cover over and then uncover when you need to. Just trying to get it fairly tight is the trick. The only thing that's letting it down a bit at the moment is the edge of the beds are a bit knackered. So just need to get some wood round them. That's a winter job. Once these are over, there's not much chance of any butterflies getting in. Obviously, yeah, still slugs, so I might just put a few slug pellets under after before I go. If I've got any here, I don't know if I have. Otherwise, if not, they'll have to be at their mercy until I get back. So that's pretty much them put to bed. Just got one more peg to put in here. I hope that's not thunder, because it is looking a bit cloudy overhead. Keep my eye on that. Right, I shall crack on and do the same with the other bed, except put my January Kings in. Right, so the January King planted. I've just put 3 savoy at the end. I've kind of done them staggered planting, so I've got like 1 here, then 2, then 1, then 2, then 1, then 2, like so. The savoy I've not staggered quite as much at the end. I've just filled the rest of the bed, so a good couple of foot between the beetroot and the first one, so hopefully most of these will start coming out in the next few weeks. I've just pulled a few. There's still a lot of small ones in there, but as I pull them, you know, the other ones will start fattening up. You know, when everything's covered up in that bed over there, which is all the Clapton and some more of the savoy. I'm not sure which savoy it is. If I can think on, I'll put it in the description, but it's just a late season savoy cabbage. So I've got some net. This used to be over my onions when I first planted them out. Same as this, I just stripped it off my onion bed. My onions are covered in mildew, you know, especially the red ones. There's a couple I can see, you know, a seed spike on, but I haven't got time today to take them out, so they'll be in a video next week or two, because I'll come and take them out like next week when I've hopefully got a bit more time. Because I've had to stop for a while because it absolutely chucked it down. We had a little bit of thunder before, so I've jumped in the shed and sat it out in there for a bit. I've got this old net. Hopefully it's got no holes in it. Still got pegs in it, the bulk of them. If I can keep them made up, it's so much easier, you know, when you come to put them back on again. You know, and I've found that bit. I know that's the centre point. It's coming unravelled a little bit, but I can always sort of tart that up a little bit as I go. Which means the other end will be right around here somewhere. And if it's covered in holes, I'll just make another net if I have to. But just simply lob it over There's like some holes in the middle of this net where when it's on the scaffolding, I think they kind of run it through there. So I look for a stretched one, and that's kind of where it used to hook on the cane in the centre. Should be. Obviously every bed's not identical to that degree, but it's near enough. It's just a case of guiding it over. I don't mind the odd little hole. I can use a bit of string or fishing lines alright to just weave it back together again. Oh yeah, it's only mainly for the butterflies. All I'm looking for is trying to get enough to make sure I can get down to the ground, well, at least over the edges of the bed. It's a bit tight at this end, so all I'll do, I'll slacken it off at that end one, and it should hopefully give me about enough. As long as I've got enough to tie it down at this end, which we shall find out while I'm down here. I just took some of these beetroots in. It makes it a bit of a pain for harvesting the beetroot, but at least I only have to lift this end, which is only one peg really at this far end, because I don't really put any pegs in the corners because it's fairly tight around the corners. It's just a fact of seeing if that makes it near enough to the ground, which will do for me. And then just tighten up this end a little bit. It does kind of get stuck on cable ties and whatnot, but just pull it tight over that cane. You don't have to pull it over the cane, but it just keeps it fairly sturdy, and then simply just push the peg in at the end of the bed there. A couple of bits that are flapping, I'll tighten them up afterwards, and then just go around the side. I've got some pegs here. I've actually put this net on inside out, that look of it, which can have problems, but it came off fairly early on, so I shouldn't have to worry about any weed seeds being caught up on the other side, hopefully. Just a case of pushing the pegs in. You know, you'll get little slugs getting in. Big ones might find it a little bit trickier. Snails can't really get in, you know, as long as it's fairly tight, you know, against the side of the bed there's no gaps. They can get that bulbous shell under, so it's one less pest to worry about. Well, you know, they're relatively cheap to make. They last years. Once you've got the plastic hoop, as long as you don't kink it, you know, the hoop will last, well, indefinitely till you kink it really. You can always trim it. Okay, so I mean, these beds I use 3 metre netting on. I just find it gives them a bit more height. You know, because some of the brassicas, they do get fairly high. So it just eliminates having too much of a low end here where they can, you know, obviously butterflies can land on it and poke the tail through, and maybe you'll get 1 or 2 eggs in. So just trying to eliminate that as much as I possibly can. It's just held together at the ends with cable ties which bunch together, which is probably the hardest bit to do. And it's as simple as that. They're on. Pretty sturdy. I don't know how it'll affect if it gets loads of snow on it. You know, I've never had one collapse yet. I had one ripped to pieces by cattle last year, obviously, but I don't think they're meant to stand bulls and things like that. And hopefully that'll keep the bulk of the pests out. I'd like to think anyway. I feel a bit more comfortable with them on. Some people get away with just, you know, having them exposed. I don't know whether they spray them, but I don't particularly like spraying for bugs if I can help it. But we shall see how they get on. I've done my bit now. The rest is it's up to them. Right, I wasn't going to film every spud reveal, but somebody said they never get bored of seeing it. So I'm going to dig up this row of Morris pears now. It's been raining, I wouldn't usually do this, but I'd rather get them out. One, because then I've got plenty of spuds to go out until these are ready. And I just don't like the idea that if you have real downpour, it washes the mud off and there's potatoes exposed then. It's just the downside of living so far away. So I've no scales with me. So I'll either put it in the description below, or there'll be a snapshot come up somewhere at the end of the, when I've dug them up, how much there is. But they've usually done okay. But nothing's ever certain. We'll just have to wait and see. This ground's a bit hard. I don't know what I'm going to put on this ground. I might cover it up, or I might put a green manure on it. I don't know yet. Because weeds are starting to grow, as they usually do. Got nothing else to put on it. You know, I could cover it with a membrane or something, but that's just somewhere for slugs to hide and rodents to dig. We'll try and avoid all that. It's not very good for growing anything late seasoning because it gets too wet, and these wasps will go away. Right, so we'll try and avoid stabbing potatoes, but it inevitably happens sometimes. Well, it's going to be a bit of a long job, this, so I'll probably speed it up, or I'll do it in phases. Oh, here we go. Maris Piers 2019. Hopefully nothing horrendous. Well, that's a good sign. First spud. Any real tiny ones I'm not going to bother with. You know, if they're around golf ball size or almost near there, I'll have them. A monkey spud there. Need to get a bucket to put my monkey bits in, I think. That'll do. It's always handy having a bloodfish and bone meal empty buckets. Yeah, there's another rotted one there. That one's alright. So there's that one. That's the first one out anyway. Anything that looks slightly rotten, I'm not going to risk it, because you can kind of store these for a while. The soil's actually quite nice here. It's got a little bit of green on that, but it's a bit of a lumpy spud, but not to worry. A few rotted ones on it, that one's alright. It's surprising, you know, after the first couple of weeks you get the odd one. Looks okay, and then all of a sudden starts having signs of rot on it. They're quite holy. See, I'm knackered already. I'm poking out the side there. It's not too bad. Real misshapen on that. You know, because some of these stems are pretty mushy. That's that rusty nail. That one's past its best. You know, I'll be happy if I get £40–50 off this row. More than happy. Oh, I think I might have hit a spud then. I mean, there's some decent ones. They don't sound hollow, which is a good sign. Sometimes you get them, they've had a dry rot, so that one looks a bit suspect, a bit manky, rove beetles in it. So when I've grown Pentland Crown in the past, I mean these are Maris Pear, but Pentland Crown, they spread really wide, so you have to dig quite a big area up. You know, they are a good yielder, but they're a bit of a blight magnet. Yeah, I definitely think blights here. Just some, I'll see if I can grab a leaf. You know, I'm a bit unsure myself at the minute, but I don't know what I can say. You're getting patches like that appearing on a lot of leaves now, so and it's that time of year. If it's just beginning, there's a few that are a lot worse, obviously, and so I'm just gonna call it. I think, you know, just keep an eye on it over the next week or two, and then get the tops off before it gets out of hand. It's a lot of work to waste. You know, I need to cover them Maris Sarpalmiras up a bit better, because there's a few of them exposed at the top. And we shall carry on with these. Must be bucket. No, I've still not even cleaned my garlic off yet at home. I think you get a quiet few days and then you think wrong. A few bits of like rusty sort of scabby bits on some, but it'll peel off. Someone asked if I composted all my blighted tops and that. It's like, yeah, I do. If you compost them long enough and they go back to soil, you know, like Charles Dowding said, it's everything comes from ground. It's got to go back there. You know, as long as it's rotted enough. If you've got a pile of potato tops, they're going to stink a bit and they're going to get hot. That'll also kill it, and just time. Things break down over time. So it's had a good 12 months in compost bin. There's a little hole in that. There's nothing wrong with it, there's a little hole in it, so I'm not going to keep that. Just in case there's slug in there. But yeah, if you leave compost, you know, a good 12 months and that, It's perfectly fine. I mean, I don't even leave it that long. Once it looks like it's done, it's done. The bug can break it down. Because, you know, whatever I do, I get blight anyway. But it doesn't seem to bring it on any earlier if I use blighted compost. Did a few years ago in a video. Grew some potatoes off a blighted plant in compost that contained, well, it was mainly made from blighted potato tops of compost. No difference at all. Which kind of confirmed to myself that, you know, it's a lot of wastage when there's a lot of compost, a lot of foliage. It's the same as anything, there is a risk element, whatever you bring into the plot. You know, if it's coming from another place, like manure and that, depends what they've been grazing on, everything. So there's always a risk. Over time, things will break down. So pretty much everything is good to go once it's rotted down. I'm going to be compacting the hell out of the soil I'm walking on, but that's just the nature of this plot. Doesn't matter what I put in this soil, it doesn't lighten it up. It's nice to dig now. Get another 6-8 weeks, it definitely won't be. I'll just scuff that one with a fork then. Luckily it's not got in it. Well, so far I'm getting a reasonable crop. Cable tie. It's pretty rare for wasps today everywhere. I'm buzzing around my head now. I don't particularly want to get stung. A little tiny hole in it, I can see inside it. I don't usually wash the potatoes. Just trying to get the worst of it off, and then I like to leave them out to dry. Which doesn't take long, to be honest. I have to make a conscious effort when I've been here amongst the blighted tops and that, so I don't go messing about at home with any potatoes or tomatoes, in case I actually have any spores on me. I always like to not do anything in the garden really the same day I've been here. Little slug. So yeah, I'll weigh these when I get them home. I've got some digital scales that I bought the other year, but God knows where they are. I can just picture where my other scales are now at home in the kitchen. Do getting a set that I leave here, to be honest. I need to make a point of recording harvests and things like that. And I can see them. So, I mean, these are pretty manky, these ones. That one's alright. Like I say, it can take a few days for anything nasty to show. Still a few leaves that haven't broken down. Or leaves, should I say. Don't like the look at that one. It definitely pays off to put your potatoes out a little bit later. Years ago I used to plant them end of March and it was just too wet here in the UK. I think I might feel something rattling on it and didn't fork. I don't know if I've hit one. You always worry about when you cut the tops off. You know, the blight spores getting down the actual stem of the plant. Getting a bit of weight in that now. It could be another 40–50 pound, hopefully. Probably thrown a couple of pound of manky ones away. Oh, that feels soft. I always give them a bit of a squeeze when I get them because don't want them rotting off in storage. Yeah, definitely that whole plant, there's something wrong with it. It's not black leg or anything like that. That one's alright. Once the bad ones have dried off. Oh, that's got a... No, I'm not risking it. It's a good spud, but it's a bit soft. It's just anything that's got rotten stems. That one's okay. It's very humid today. A bit concerned about spores getting on these. I'm digging them up. But it doesn't take long to go through spuds in our house. Whew, I'm knackered. I'll move that on the side of me now. Because you'd probably be out of shot. I don't even know if the camera's still on. Yep, you're still on, but it might cut off. Okay, that's just rotten. You just have to be on the on guard a bit when you. Maybe you can rub it in a bit of soil to soak any juicy stuff up, and hopefully it doesn't get in there. Yeah, I don't want to risk. That's alright. Nearly done, thank God. Green one. Yeah, but they're not bad size. Most of them are that sort of size, to be honest, which I don't mind at all. It's a nice change to kind of catch them through a bit of a natural dive back and get the tops off before things get out of hand. Whew. No, I'll just pick the little ones out and make a potato salad with that. Might move the camera down a bit because I don't know what you're seeing right now. Yeah, a little bit better. And the rain's coming back. It's not ideal when you've got potatoes out. I have to get someone to just put over the top of them. I do not want them getting too wet. Just lay them on top of the soil for now. It's always nice to come to the plot when it rains. Not. Splitting it's not too bad though. That's got a hole in that end, so yeah, it is bad. few holes in these. I might just go through them later on and pull them holy ones out and use them up first. Definitely not that one. You're always going to get a bit of damage. Oh, I don't know if you can see that, but there's a little leather jacket. I'll just give him a pop. I don't think they cause much problem on potatoes, even though I have had the other one nibbling away at the growing tip as it's about to come through the ground. Right, stop raining now. Get them in there. No wheelbarrow, so I need lumping this lot across by hand. I'm sure my spine's going to love that. I think it's the last one. A bit of a juicy one somewhere on there. Yeah. I hit that one with a fork. Bugger. It's alright though. Chip butty. Look at that. Right on the end. Amazing. Yeah, there's another one then. Hardly dinked any, getting this last plant and giving it a good prodding. I think that is about your lot. So this those crappy ones out the way. Straight in the compost bin then. With plenty of potato tops and broccoli stems and whatnot in there. So overall, let's say I weigh him and go home. There's a good few pound there anyway. So they're Morris pears for 2019. I'll just need to tidy this up now. I might rake a bit of soil up on them sour palmeiras. Right, that's it for this update. Just need to sort this bit out and get stuff back over to the van because it's starting to rain again. So if I can't do that, I won't. You know, I might get them spuds over to the van before it opens up. Now, peas, they seem to be growing alright now, a bit more light and airflow. Could do with a bit of a string on them really, just to nip them in a bit, but I'm sure they'll be okay for a few days, well, to a week till I get down next. Like I say, it'd be onions, they'll be coming up soon. The old pea plants need to come out, because they're done now. I need to take the pods off for seeds and that. Probably more blueberries, because I can see there's a few ripe, but I'm not picking them today. There'll probably be another 2 or 3 picks on that, and I'll leave it open for blackbirds then, and they can clear them up. And then obviously getting this lot of potatoes out, which hopefully will be alright, because the main croppers and Orla and the sour palmeiras, you know, hopefully they've been juice of word and you know, some blight resistance. You're going to get some with blight obviously, but I don't mind a majority. I don't think I did too bad on them. Definitely, blight's definitely here though. But it's not a big hit yet, but obviously it's the first signs and you can lose a whole lot within 10 days, you know, if you're not careful. So I just need to be on the ball and keep a check as and when I can. And hopefully the rain will ease off a little bit, because that don't help washing stuff in. So that's it for this update. So thanks for watching, take care, and I will see you next time. See you now, bye.